Yeah. So my next question would have been, when was there that point? But it seems like there was no epiphany. It was just who you are, like part of your identity, would you say, in terms of gradually evolving to where you are today?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I read this incredible book once. I can't remember the name of the guy who wrote it, called Epiphany, and it's about those wonderful moments where people just had this kind of light bulb moment of thinking, yes, this is what I want to do with my life. And I never had one of those. It was just, I think, a grind of always wanting to work hard, but having the privilege of being able to choose something I was interested in, which I get that not
Absolutely.
everybody is in a position to be able to do that. So yeah, and then gradually evolve. I never thought in a million years, or even 2 years ago, that I would be doing this now. Just never, But I think as you follow what fascinates you and work as hard as you can at it, then you kind of take a windy path to something that is really interesting and exciting and fits with your values.
I
I think
couldn't
it's
agree more. If you would have asked me 4 months ago that I would have been on a podcast with yourself and Jake, I would have never believed you. And it just, I think following your passions and then the opportunities arise, and you've done so much. So yeah, that answers my first question. Jake?
I think this is an important thing to talk about because you say, you never had this epiphany. And I feel like there's a common misconception that every successful person has gotten to where they are because they've had this epiphany, like, oh, here's where I knew I wanted to be a doctor when blank happened. And in reality, I have not found that to be true. Of course, it does exist for some people. I think most people, it's a process, including myself. I am a month away from applying into psychiatry residency, but I never had this epiphany in my psychiatry rotation that, oh man, this is it. And it is definitely a process. And so I think it's really important that we're honest with ourselves that there's not this, it would be great if there was, but there doesn't seem to be this magical moment where it's like the stars align. It's like, ooh, I am officially going to be a psychologist.
Absolutely. And I think sometimes, I mean, those moments are lovely to hear about. And if someone has one of those moments, it's a great story, isn't it? But I think the idea that everybody has to have that and have a moment where they just realize their passion, um, almost sets us up to feel like we're failing, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I think passions are maybe often generated out of really working hard at something and realizing how meaningful it is. I think when I first even when I got into clinical training, I thought it sounded like a great job, but I had no idea really at that point how much meaning the job could have for me further along the line, because I wasn't exposed to the degree of distress that people can experience and
Mm-hmm.
the awful things that people can go through. So the meaning and the passion, I think, grows the more you learn about something.
So true.